Back with the Ukrainian Empire in the Russian invasion. So last time we left off, Russia was doing their best to try to counteract Ukraine and allied troops. With this, Russia is starting to push back, and more pushes are actually being successful because winter is still amongst in. Well, basically all of this part in Russia, it's always winter, so yeah, whatever. Then there is the most bloodiest battle of the war. Where the frick is the city? I don't freaking know cities. I thought New York was a state once. Where is this place? Ugh. It's like freezing cold. It's like okay, good to know. So with this, I'm gonna say that the cities around here, Allied forces are able to push back into it, and now we're gonna have the bloodiest battle of the war, resulting in about 3.2 million casualties. Obviously exaggerated, but whatever. With this, we get a big zoom in. Allied forces make the very cold push into here, while the Russian forces are mainly able to establish a front line, encircling lots of Allied troops. They encircled some Allied troops over here, and they say, "Hey, can you surrender now?" And in Nostalgia for World War II, they simply send back the word "balls." I can't say that with a straight. Okay, I'm actually 9. Um, with this, they take back Allies are able to liberate them. And if you don't know, that actually kind of happened in World War II. American troops were captured by Germans, and they sent back the words "nuts." So yeah, that kind of works. American troops are eventually able to take the city, leaving to slightly warmer conditions. Russia's last ditch attempt has kind of failed over in the east, so now the only thing they can really hope for is to push in the west. With this, they keep fighting, and they're able to cause an encircling movement, and a front line is eventually established. Russia's gonna hold out until they have a substantial amount of territory pushed back. With this, they do, with Ukraine taking some territory and a bulge. With this, each Ukraine is mainly sending this with punches, and with each punch, they're spending lots and lots of resources. Um, over in the Chinese border, there's lots of like industrialized stuff in here, and Russia finally gets China to send in lots of industrialized stuff and ammo. This is going to lead to a massive Russian pushback. So with Ukraine spending in most of their resources and Russia getting ready to remobilize, they call on the Allies to do the same kind of pushes. So they do that. The Allies start sending in massive pushes, which are pretty sporadic. That's like a slur in the UK. Sorry. Um, if you're in the UK, that's like a slur over there. If you didn't know that, if it wasn't a slur over here in America, that's cool. They always keep pushing in with these punches until they're eventually out of resources. Now Russia's kind of screwed right now, but they have lots of resources, while the Allies have kind of lost everything. So with this, they're able to push back, causing a spearhead of their own, taking back lots of the Allied captured territories. They then retake the coldest city on Earth and are able to push back Ukraine very slightly. Um, there's then some rebellions over around this area, and but they're eventually put down by the Russian government. Um, then there is a restructuring of plan. The Allied forces over here were mainly cut off because now there's a new plan by Ukraine. So the plan is to send all of the armies around through here. They're doing this to contain mainly defensive positions. Then going through the Red Sea. Um, So after they go through the Red Sea, they'll go around through the Suez Canal and then through Gallipoli. They then push up through the Black Sea and then push Russia back through while holding the defensive line over here. Um, so then that plan is put into action, and after about 2 years of war, it finally happens, and the Allies are able to make a massive push through. Russia, with their final resources, they decide to launch there's a ton of nukes just everywhere, and the reason why these are bigger is because they're kind of everywhere around here. But what Russia kind of failed to realize is that they kind of just nuke their own place, even though it's Allied captured. But whatever. And then these nuclear places are eventually unradiated. So Russia eventually just decides to surrender. Um, now it's time for some border gore. So Ukraine is gonna keep most of the stuff that they got over here. Um, they take they decided to set up the line right over here next to Mongolia, and setting up the like a bit of an hourglass shape up here. Um, and they then annex the rest of it. The Allies are able to capture this territory for themselves. Um, this also leads to like more territory being taken, and so yeah, Russia is pretty much cut down to nothing but cold, and the regions that are cold are pretty useless. So now it's time for the regions. So Ukraine, obviously, they just annexed all the land that they captured, and a completely new Russian, American allied and Ukraine allied government is set up. Everyone keeps meaning about how brave Zelensky is because he was also fighting on the front lines in this timeline. And like I said in the first video, please go send some donos to Ukraine and stuff, please. So over in this part of Russia, we have a new U.S. state being formed, known as Neo-Alaska. Um, and the rest is just like split occupied. So there is the Ukrainian Empire. It's a thick boy.